Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy FattyGhost, and in today's video, I'm gonna be giving you guys my initial thoughts on FIFA 21 so far. I've had 10 hours of access through EA Play. I've completely run through my access, so I thought I'll give you guys my opinions on the graphics, the gameplay, menus, and just like overall how Ultimate Team is stacking up this year. If you guys like the content, please like and subscribe. Let's get to it. So to start off with, guys. As you can see in the background, I believe this is my gameplay from my Division Rival placement games, which I'm going to discuss later, guys. These are quite important games, and I'm going to tell you why. But just looking at it graphically, you can see it's not almost the same as FIFA 20. It's exactly the same as FIFA 20. Normally, every year they might throw on like a different filter or switch things up a little bit. But this year, guys, it seems exactly the same. As far as even the players' faces, guys, a lot of the renders that I've seen so far, like from the teams that I use, the faces seem the same as in older FIFAs. Usually like sometimes they'll update people's faces, but the ones I've seen, they seem like they're from FIFA 20 or maybe even older. So that's a bit disappointing, but not like too much of a deal breaker. And we can cut EA some slack because of Corona and stuff. But then, guys, when it comes to the gameplay, EA has made some wholesale changes, and of course it's too soon right now. Someone could find a broken mechanic in the game, or EA can just like make an update and absolutely ruin the game. But so far, guys, I have some good news for you. The gameplay is looking pretty solid. They made some changes. I'm going to go through the changes they've made, and then sort of afterwards give you guys a consensus on how the game really feels. So to start off with, guys, the first thing I notice is the passing, and the main thing is the ability of the player to pass. So I think the passing rating is something you're gonna really have to look at this year, which in previous FIFAs you always haven't really had to look at. But this year, so for example, for me, I was using Timo Werner and Leon Bailey and Lucas Moura and stuff up front. And I had a pretty good midfield of Alan from Everton, Emre Can, and Julian Brandt. A good midfield that has good passing stats. And guys, off the rip, you guys can see a significant difference. Like a guy like Leon Bailey and Timo Werner, who are so good, like they're so fast and stuff. But even simple through balls that you'd be easily making with a trash player in FIFA 20, it's quite different in this game. And so, I think definitely when you're looking at players, you have to consider the passing rating. And when you compare to someone like a good passer, like I have Emre Can on my team, who's a very good passer, the passes he was making was so different compared to like my wingers who aren't that good at passing. So when it comes to the ability of passing, you definitely have to consider that this year it's definitely levels. It's easily noticeable, guys. Almost like how you would notice, let's say, a guy with 90 pace to 80 pace, you would notice a guy who has like 80 passing to like 72 passing. That's one thing. Another thing is the animation. They have a lot more like animations to the passing. For the most part, it's like outside the foot, inside foot, but it's just like the way the body moves, things like that. There are a lot of new animations. Another thing is like the through balls. So this also relates to the attacking AI, which I'll discuss later. But the attacking AI is much better. So even with the through balls and stuff, there's a lot more like different angles, different types of through balls you can make, which are very effective. So, and that's very different this year as compared to previous FIFA. So that's great. Over the top through balls too, guys, is very useful this year. It's much more accurate this year than last year. I thought last year they were very useless. They were like very loopy, slow. Defenders could easily like get the ball, whereas now they're much better, much more like the previous FIFAs when it was sort of like an OP mechanic. But I like how they're doing it this year. It seems accurate, it seems usable, so I like it's definitely nice. And again, it makes you use different sort of plays to get score goals, things like that. That's very nice. Then it comes to the crosses, guys, and guys, crosses are completely manual, so it does require some skill. But again, you can sort of really place the cross where you want. It's not just like if you compare to like FIFA 20, when you make a cross, it's almost like it's locked to a player, like it has to go to this player, so it's gonna be on his trajectory, things like that. Whereas now, you can almost like, let's say you aim for the middle of the goal, you can almost just like place the ball there, and if someone's gonna get on it, they'll get on it, things like that. So it creates different angles, it creates like different sort of goals. Like I scored some goals from crosses, and it's just like it's a pretty rewarding feeling, it's a lot more of like your personal input than just like the game looking at, okay, you want to make a cross to this guy, so we're just gonna lock on the ball to him kind of thing. So that's very nice. And then to top it off, guys, there's a lot more like the fancy passes, the L2 pass. That's pretty cool, if you just want to troll your opponent if you're up like 5-0 or something. So that's pretty cool. So passing overall, guys, great changes. Even overall, guys, the passes seem a lot crisp, like even simple passes and stuff. So that's really overall, really like the passing this game. And I like that, it's something you have to consider now. Like you're not just looking at pace. And I think a lot of players that we like in real life who are good at passing, they might actually be very enjoyable this year. So that's great. Then we move on to the attacking AI, and this is something EA showed off in their like sort of trailers and stuff. And guys, this is again very, very significant. So as I mentioned earlier, I had Leon Bailey and I had Timo Werner. And Werner, he has really good attacking position, and some of the runs he was making, even like it's not just like, oh, okay, like, I'm just gonna run past the defender. He's also trying to create space so that you can get a pass in. So the attacking here, you can definitely feel they're making different kinds of runs, very intelligent runs. And another thing with this is the ability of the player, like with the passing. So I had Werner and I had Leon Bailey. Now Leon Bailey's attacking positioning isn't great, and so you can directly like straight away you can feel, like this guy, he's not making as good runs as Timo Werner. And you can automatically tell the difference between a good player and a bad player. And again, adding that difference to not just looking at things like pace and stuff. So I think that's great. And the different runs and stuff, again, it makes you score different sort of goals, different sort of build up play, things like that. So again, very good by them. Then we move on to the shooting. And even with the shooting, it seems almost like it's completely overworked, I guess. I mean, a lot more animations, guys, for shooting. Even like the speed of the ball traveling and stuff is quite different. But yeah, the most of all, the animation, they included a lot more animations to the shot this year, different kinds of shots. So again, it's something new. Another thing is just the control you have. Like it almost seems like you can place the ball exactly where you want, and because of this, you can score goals from literally every angle. Again, if you look at last year, for example, what was OP? So in the beginning of the game, finesse shots are OP, and near post was OP. Whereas this time, guys, you can honestly be at any angle, and it just seems like you have the ability to place the ball. And sometimes also it can be like at a negative, in a way where it can be a bit harder to score because you might be aiming far post, but you aim too far, so your guy just misses. But even from really tight angles, you could maybe squeeze it in far post. So again, adding different types of goals, things like that, and you ability to score from like a lot more angles than usual. So that's definitely great. Long shots also, guys, I think it's back. I mean, I've scored some, so I think it's gonna be effective. This is also affected by the defending, which is quite manual this year, which I'll discuss later. But yeah, guys, long shots are pretty effective this year. So again, when we look at midfielders, you can consider this. Whereas like last year, because long shots were like not that usable, people just wanted like CDMs that could just defend, and they didn't care if they had a long shot on them, things like that. Another thing, guys, the chip shots are incredible this year, and the chip shots are even usable when the goalie's in his place. Like it's not like the goalie has to rush goal and then you can score. The chip shots are really good, especially if you have a guy who has a good shot on him. It's really enjoyable to use also. And again, adding to the fact that you can score different types of goals. Then we move on to the dribbling. One thing is they have this new I think you have to press R1, I believe. It's like this tight dribble, which is like pretty effective. It's you can just move left and right, and so it's pretty hard to get the ball off of the defender. And again, when I discuss the defending, you guys will see how important the dribbling is this year. The drag back also has been nerfed somewhat. It's slower to do, and you have to press both L1 and R1. And initially I thought it wasn't too hard, but honestly, when I was playing the game, I could actually feel like it's not as OP as like last year. Like last year, because it's just one button and it was so fast, it was you could just like keep on like fooling your opponent. whereas this year they've nerfed it, so that's definitely great. Another thing is, it's just the control you have. It just seems like you have a lot more control of the ball even when you're sprinting. Like, of course, if you're just like bombing it down and you're using your right stick to sort of hit the ball front so you can get as much speed as you want, that's similar to last year. But now even when you're sprinting, if you just like, if you have a good dribbler, you just turn left right, you know, you can really like create some doubt in your defender. And just overall, guys, a lot more control in your dribble. I can definitely feel it's different. And definitely one thing I've noticed so far is you don't need skills to get past people. You know, just like, you know, changing angles, you know, just maybe slowing down and sprinting, you know, things like that, moving left and right, different directions. So, you know, that's also again great. Again, and another good thing is, you know, then because of this, it doesn't mean you need to have like, you know, 4-star, 5-star scalers, things like that. So that's really good. Another thing is the now with the even 3-star skill players can do, it's not exactly a McGeady spin, it's somewhat like a spin which they couldn't do last year. So that's great. You know, that's one of those tricks that I use quite a bit, and so now I can use it on even 3-star skillers, so that's pretty nice. And yeah, guys, I think the defending is gonna have a big impact on the meta. I think everyone's gonna be using those high dribble guys. You know, even if they're not the fastest, having good dribbling is very, very important. And we get on to defending, and this is why you're gonna know. This is why you're gonna know now why dribbling is so important. So starting off, guys, it's very manual. Overall, guys, even the positioning, things like that, is a lot you have to do compared to last year. You know, it's definitely a learning curve. You gotta get used to it. A lot of guys who play like the older FIFAs, they'll probably be like, you know, more used to it. But again, you know, your habits break because, you know, the last couple of years the CPU is doing it for you. So again, very nice. You know, it also adds to the skill gap, so that's great. Then we move on to the tackling. So the tackling, guys, I think for me, in like the past 5 or 6 FIFAs, this is the hardest it's been. Like, it's very hard to tackle. Like, you have to be in the right position, time it exactly correct. One thing about this that can be bad is, even for me, for example, when I was playing, I was getting some input delay. And you know, guys who not gonna have access to like good servers and stuff, I think this is gonna be pretty bad for them, maybe potentially. But yeah, guys, it's very hard to tackle in this. Like, it's much harder, and especially if you're up against a good dribbler, guys, it's very hard to get the ball off of that. And what another thing is, if you go for a tackle and you miss, you know, there's a considerable like how do you say, like, time it takes to the point you can recover. So even if you don't have like the fastest, let's say you have someone like Lewandowski and you go past me, like I go for a tackle, I miss it, you go past me, it's a wrap, guys. Like, you know, you'll be passed. So yeah, guys, with the defending, it's this is also why it makes the dribbling a lot more unique and a lot more effective. So, you know, this is definitely going to affect the meta. You definitely want to have good defenders, and again, you know, not just looking at pacey defenders. It's important to have good defenders that can, you know, execute those tackles, because it's much harder. Another small addition, guys, the heading feels actually really good this year. Not OP from what I have seen, but just overall, guys, it actually feels like a 50-50, even if it's not like on the end of a cross. Let's say, you know, your goalie just like clears it, someone in your midfield has to get the ball. The headers just feel very 50-50. Like, you can change the position you're in, you have to time the header, things like that. So it feels quite nice. And even like you know, when you're attacking and stuff, or from corners, you know, you can feel it's a viable option. It's not OP, it's not like super effective, but it is a way of scoring, which again, it's nice. You know, different sort of goals. And you know, this is also going to include different players. You know, it's not just, you know, looking at, you know, the really like fast players, things like that. Of course, the most effective way of scoring will be when the ball is at the player's feet, but again, heading is definitely an option this year. And so I think, you know, you will see like different sorts of teams hopefully this year. Again, not too OP, but you know, you would be at some advantage if you maybe have a taller striker, or a striker that, you know, has good heading or good jumping, things like that. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for the gameplay. So as I mentioned, guys, a lot of changes. Like, you'll feel it straight away, like you know, the game is, you know, quite different from last year's game. And overall, guys, I really like it. I think possibly from what I have seen, what I think is bad, maybe the goalies. I feel the goalies are a bit weak this year as compared to last year. Maybe it's good in a way because it's more like sort of scoring centric. Like I noticed I was scoring a lot more goals, and even like watching some videos and stuff of like other people playing, it seems like there's more goals being scored. So I guess maybe that's a good thing, and scoring different sorts of goals. But I think as because I'm used to playing like FIFA 20, moving to this, I can definitely feel the goalies aren't as good. But yeah, guys, other than that, guys, I really like the change. As far as the meta goes, of course, pace is always going to be the meta because look, the pace helps you to get from point A to point B faster than another player, right? So, of course, pace is going to be important. But I like the emphasis on the passing, on the attacking positioning, things like that. I think it's going to, you're going to see people maybe, go for a more technical player and, maybe compromise on the pace. And guys, I did that. Like I was using Leon Bailey on the left side. I moved to Thorgan Hazard, and guys, I kept Thorgan Hazard because his passing was better, his positioning was better, things like that. So I can definitely see other people too, leaning this way. So yeah, guys, overall, I'm liking the gameplay. I only played my 5 placement games. The rest I was grinding squad battles, so I can't tell you too much if like a certain mechanic is too broken, things like that. But yeah, so far from what I saw, I thought the goalies were a bit hit or miss, and even the defending guy, I think it might be maybe not the manual defending, like the positioning, but I think maybe just the tackling. Maybe they could make it slightly easier. That would be nice. But yeah, guys, that's about it for the gameplay. Then, guys, we look at the menus, and I did not like the menus. Now, over the years, they've evolved the Ultimate Team menus, but it's been sort of the core has been the same as the previous years, and it seemed intuitive. That's one thing that this year's menus aren't. It's just not intuitive. It's like you have to hold your left analog stick down and it goes to your squad, and then there's like this hub, and you have to go on play, and then you can do your SBCs and squad battles and things like that. And it's just like, I don't know, I found it pretty confusing. It's the biggest shift, like I think since like this gen of FIFA Ultimate Team, like since FIFA 14, is definitely the biggest shift they've made. So maybe it just takes some getting used to. But as far as just starting off, I just didn't feel it was intuitive enough. So that's sort of a con for me. And then it comes to just EA being quite generous with the money, guys. Now, you guys saw, if you got the web app, EA is giving you 4 packs, which you guys easily you can get like 20 bags from that. I mean, for the most part, like I packed an inform, 2 of my friends packed inform, so I know like they're sort of giving out some coins like at the beginning. I hope at least for all of you guys. But not just that, guys, even in the placement games. Now, if you win your 5 placement games for Division Rivals, you get 100 and I think it's like 124, 128k, which is like crazy. They're giving you money off the rip, like to start your team. Like for me, I got into Division 4. Honestly, guys, due to the input delay, I'm not gonna lie, and I was coming up against some beasts. But yeah, guys, I got into Division 4 and I got 64k. Which is also, again, like that's good money. That's, you can make a decent starting team with that. So I definitely don't see a lot of people making like those really, really cheap teams like we saw in previous FIFAs. And until they have to do these placement games. Once you do the placement games, you should have enough money to have a decent squad. So in terms of EA, props to them. They are giving out the cash this year, it seems like. So yeah, guys, that's been my initial thoughts. Also, to let you guys know, I packed untradeable Mbappe and I was very happy about that. So yeah, guys, hopefully reviews coming soon. I don't have enough footage yet. Once the game comes out on the 6th, I will be knocking those reviews out, and hopefully on the 6th or 7th, you're gonna start seeing a bunch of reviews come in. So thank you, guys. Hope you all have a nice day. Peace.